Hello everyone, this is Menu Ninja speaking. This video is going to cover a lot of pickups that I happen to have around the week of, as well as the event of, EGLX and Canada Cup, which was on, I believe, the October 26th to 28th weekend over here in the Toronto, Ontario area. So you can kind of guess from the past here, I originally signed up as part of the Canada Cup thing. It says competitor, but it was really more of a spectator pass that I picked up. But having admission to one part of the event gave you admission to really both, since they were really intertwined completely in this case. So on the Sunday of the event, they actually had a game swap meet on one of the upper levels, which I did attend. I'm going to put this down while I grab these other stuff. And suffice to say, between that, I grabbed a few things. So let's begin. We're actually going to end with a few of the handheld stuff in this case. So technically, these two games did not come from the swap meet proper in this case, but actually just like a little bit of a forward off of a local shop. So Dragon Ball Taiketsu and Sonic the Hedgehog Genesis, two Game Boy Advance games. Kind of both quirky for different reasons. This one is, generally speaking, not so great fighting game using 3D rendered graphics, or pre-rendered graphics I should say, but I collect Dragon Ball stuff, so I picked it up. And similarly note, Sonic the Hedgehog Genesis is basically a port of the original Genesis game on here. What makes it weird is they actually added a few different things. I think they added Knuckles and Tails on this version, as well as Sonic had the ability to spin dash if it was turned on. So just generally kind of a weird little thing to pick up. And now for a loose game I actually did pick up at the event, Sonic Battle for the Game Boy Advance in this case. So this was kind of a weird 2.5D arena fighter of sorts. The reason I say that is while the actual background and fighting arenas were in 3D, although low poly 3D in this case, all the character animations and graphics were actually 2D pixel art. So kind of a weird thing. Let's put that down. Let's go look over some of the other handheld stuff that I did pick up. Starting off, this was probably my first purchase of the weekend. I'm kind of one of the outside vendors now that I think about it. Shinobi for the 3DS in this case. Basically just adding on to the other Sega Shinobi series stuff that I happen to have collected at this point. This one's actually a prequel to all the stuff that is part of the regular series, starring Jiro Musashi rather than Joe Musashi. And well, this particular copy is actually it's closed in packet still. I'm going to be opening up because I want to play the game, but I paid not too bad. I think a 25-ish on this one. I wish I could have picked it up cheaper, but hey, for a complete one, I was willing to bite the bullet on that one. Let's put that down. This particular one's a bit interesting. Aliens Infestation for the Game Boy, not Game Boy, for the Nintendo DS in this case. This one is actually made by, I believe, WayForward off the top of my head. In fact, yes, that confirms it right there. WayForward Technologies on top of that one. And is considered probably one of the few really generally good Aliens games that have popped up either in the form of a console game or a handheld game. So that was a little interesting thing. Decided to take a look on it when I noticed it's kind of in one of the seller's bins. And this one is actually a little bit of a nicer game. Ubisoft's Advanced Guardian Heroes, in this case, is actually a sequel to the original Guardian Heroes that appeared on the Saturn in this case, and is a bit of a follow-up story that takes place indeterminate length afterwards. Does feature a lot of the characters from the original game, but, well, it's a bit of a weird title, I'd say. Still quite enjoyable, but definitely weird compared to the other games in the series. Well, other game, I should say, only the one exists. The sequel here. Moving onward, we have ActRaiser 2 for the Super Nintendo in this case. I'm pretty sure I have at least a Super Famicom version of the original game. What makes this one a little different from the previous game is that it skips all the RPG elements from the original and is strictly an action platformer in this case. Generally quite affordable. I'd want to say I paid 30-ish less if possible for this one. But generally speaking, yeah, no, it's still really nice clean case in this case. Well, minus some dust cut from being in this office. I'm still cleaning up right now. But generally, money well spent on that one. The next few games I'm going to bring are actually going to be almost all thematic in a certain sense. So give me a second, just organizing the order a bit so it makes a little more sense. But yeah, I decided to pick up a few games to add to my Mega Man collection. Here's a greatest hits version of Mega Man 8 for the PlayStation in this case. The reason why it's the greatest hits version is technically I already own a proper Black Label version, but when I picked it up I didn't notice how beat up the disc was on that version of the game. So You can kind of tell this was originally from a Value Village. So the reason I picked this one up is so I can actually have a playable version of Mega Man 8 for the PlayStation in this case. Since the other one I have is basically just, it's a decor, it's a filler. So this one makes it an actual part of the collection now. This is actually my first pickup from the Game Swap itself. Rockman Battle and Chase for the PlayStation. This one, of course, is an import-only game in this case. The only North American release for this particular title off the top of my head was as part of the Mega Man Anniversary Collection that would have been for the PS2 and GameCube off the top of my head. So, in this case, this is a Japanese import version. I think there might have been a European version, but at least this was the one they happened to have on hand from a vendor that was really trying to clear out all of our import stuff. So, for $20, this was a worthwhile purchase. Happy to have it. And the next three, I don't need to explain too much for. It's really just to kind of complete my X collection. So, Mega Man X4, Mega Man X5, and for God knows what reason I paid decent money for Mega Man X6. Technically, I do have the Legacy collection that I picked up not too long ago, but this way, just because these were technically these titles which I've been meaning to grab for a while, they were all in the same spot between one or two vendors, so it's like, okay, fine, I'll bite, and that technically completes my Mega Man X collection, at least in terms of PlayStation stuff. So I have at least one main entry of all the series. The last two items I have, one second, I'm going to move this over, a little more anticlimactic in this case. Another Capcom Pad Soldier Controller for the Super Famicom. This I think makes either the second or third one. Needs a little cleaning in this case, but generally all the buttons seem to be operating just fine on that. Part of the reason I also bring this up is I didn't know until this event that they actually had made a 3DO equivalent of this, which begs the question, what 3DO game actually uses all 6 buttons on there? And, well, no, that's actually the main question there. Unfortunately, I won't be finding that out. I obviously don't have it with me because the seller who wanted that one wanted a grand total of $50 for that, and for a system I don't actually own, I don't have a 3DO, I'm not going to pay $50 for a novelty controller. And the last one, which is going to be a little more useful for kind of recording some stuff later down the line, is I finally picked up a kind of a cheap, loose version of official composite cables, or component cables for the PlayStation Portable. Now, the reason this is a little tricky from before is, technically, my brother had originally picked up kind of like a display unit of a PSP like many years ago. But the problem is that was a 1000 unit. And you need the series 2000 and up to actually make use of these cables. So it wouldn't be until I actually picked up my own import PSP 2000. Technically this would have been a while back. Now I can actually make use of these cables, but I was just trying to find the right price for picking up, and I think I paid, I'm going to say $5 for these. So this was part of a bulk purchase, so finally I have a copper cable. I can record some content from the PSP now. And with that, I believe that actually covers all my pickups for the week of EGLX/Canada Cup, as well as the event proper, the Game Swap. And yeah, I think that covers everything now. So for those who are watching, thank you very much for watching to the end here. All of you take care, and catch you later.